Good morning. It is December 28th. It's Thursday and 8 a.m. The second meeting of the month for this Speedway Town Council. We normally have this meeting on Monday, the fourth Monday of the month, but being that it was Christmas, we thought we'd give a present to everyone and not have it on that day, and so we're holding the meeting today. We have a few people in the audience. We thank you for your attendance and participation, and we're going to go ahead forward with the meeting now. The first item on the agenda is the Pledge of Allegiance. So everyone to stand up and please salute the flag. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, everyone. First few items on the agenda, items 2 through 4, are approval of minutes from previous council meetings. On December 11th, we had our first meeting of the month. Are there any changes to those minutes as presented before the meeting? We'll accept those as presented. The next two items are minutes from executive sessions on the 11th of December and the 21st. Those also have been distributed. Any changes or edits or comments to that? We'll accept those as distributed as well. Moving on to board appointments and commissions, I want to make a few comments before we do that, which has kind of been the custom over the years. We have several appointments we'll make this morning. We might even have some we won't make, but there'll be some changes like there are every year on boards and commissions. I want to make sure that we thank those that have served, whether it be short-term or long-term. And as we make some changes, we're simply looking to involve more people in the community, and we look forward to doing that through these boards and commissions. And then what we find is through the year, each of those boards and commissions might have additional task force groups, that type of thing, where people that maybe weren't appointed to boards and commissions can be brought on to specific projects or that type of thing to also be involved. So going forward, we'll go first with the Arts Council. We currently have 2 vacancies, and we have other appointments that either can be reappointed or we could put other folks in those roles. So as I look across here, it looks as if all the board positions, there's 7 positions that we appoint. If I could get some nominations from the council, we'll start there.
Mr. President, I move that we nominate Desiree Janes.
Mr. President, I move we nominate Jennifer White.
Mr. President, I nominate Mike Watts.
I nominate Eileen Carroll.
Nominate Melissa Head.
I'm sorry, that was Melissa Hedge?
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
Mr. President, nominate Bruce Levy.
I believe we still have 2 appointments.
Mr. President, I nominate Alex Weismiller.
One more.
Yes.
I nominate Dana.
Nope.
Yes.
Yes, I'm sorry, we do. We have one more.
Dana Lotz.
Great.
Mr. President, I move that we close nominations.
Second.
Okay. So we have 7 people that have been nominated, and we've had a motion to close the nominations, and it's been seconded.
7 or 8?
7. Yeah. So I'll repeat those just so we. And Monty's taking notes, want to be sure. So the first one was Desiree James. The second one, I believe, was Mike Watts. The next one was Jennifer White. The next one was Eileen Carroll. The next one was Bruce Levy. And the next one was Melissa Hedge.
That's 8.
That's 8.
So let me count back here. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 8. Actually, as I look at past years, and we have just to again to to explain to the council and those that would be watching, we have, because we've had a motion to close and it's been seconded, we'd actually have to call for either a renomination or call for, you have to have a motion for one of these be removed. I would point out that Melissa Hedge, in previous years, had been appointed by the SRC.
Am I correct in saying, though, that if we leave the 8 that we have, that the SRC would have one appointment? It would be up to them.
Well, Melissa is actually the appointment of the SRC.
In the previous year, she had been the
So if
the
we were
SRC
to
appointment.
withdraw her nomination from this, then they can nominate.
or any of these people if we so choose.
I see.
So I'm
So should we?
I
decline-
nominated Melissa, so I'll withdraw Melissa.
okay. So we have we're having discussion because this motion is been made to close nominations. So we're having that discussion. We haven't taken a vote on it yet. To be clear, Eileen has withdrawn Melissa Hedge with the anticipation that SRC would likely reappoint her in their future meeting.
So you need a new motion?
No, I think because we have had the discussion and we've had the request to remove that, I think we're solid. We made it very clear what we're doing, so I think there's not a need for a second motion. I would ask if there's any more comment or questions on this. Hearing none, I'll go ahead and call for the vote. All those in favor of appointing the seven that we've just described, excluding Ms. LaHedge, which Eileen had withdrawn. All those in favor of appointing those 7, please say aye.
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 Opposed? Okay, so those 7 people are appointed. Monty, do you have any questions before we go to the next one?
No, sir.
Tried to throw you a curveball there. Sorry about that.
That's okay.
All right.
I like curveballs.
Okay.
Easier
you
to
were-
hit.
Yeah, Monty's a former pitcher, so. All right, so moving on, we have no appointments to cable and the Community Development Corporation. There's no openings on that. The Housing Advisory Council, we have 2 vacancies, and
Only one of those is town council.
only one of those is Town Council, correct?
It should be 2. Or no, correct, that's one.
Right.
Yep.
So we have several good candidates.
Mr. President, I nominate Rachel Wheeler.
Okay. Do we have any other nominations for the one position?
Mr. President, I make a motion nominations be closed for Housing Advisory Council.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion to close the nominations for Housing Advisory Council. There's been a motion or a nomination of Rachel Wheeler. Any other comments or questions? All those in favor of appointing Rachel Wheeler to the Housing Advisory Council, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Congratulations to Rachel. We will now move on to just continue down our list of boards and commissions. We don't have an opening currently on the Parks Board, so we no need to make any nominations there. Next is the Public Transportation Board. We have 2 vacancies. We actually have a renomination, if we so choose, of Wynema Walter. So we have a need for 3 nominations in total.
Mr. President, I nominate Curtis Miller.
I nominate Gary Pettigo.
I'll nominate Wynema Walter.
Any other nominations?
Mr. President, I make a motion that nominations be closed for public transportation.
Second.
Okay, so we have a motion to close the nominations. We have 3 nominations. I'll repeat those.
Please.
One is Curtis Miller. The second one is Gary Pettigo. And the third is a reappointment of Wynema Walter. Any other comments or questions? All those in favor of those appointments as described, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Congratulations to those 3 for the Public Transportation Board. And we will move on to, redevelopment. At this moment, I'd like to thank Bill Jones and Vince Noblet, Rhonda Schwartz, Tom Popcheff, and Gordon Rundle for a tremendous amount of work, particularly in the last year, as we've transitioned the Redevelopment Commission. In particular, I want to say a few more words about Bill Jones and Vince Noblet. They are terrific citizens, great servants of the town, and after more than 10 years of service each towards redevelopment, and Vince actually being an original member of Redevelopment Commission, we're going to as a council, we're going to appoint some other folks to this board. We appreciate their service. They continue to be very active in the commission and to the area of economic development and redevelopment, and they're both committed to staying engaged to complete the projects that are either started or the ones that are being pursued with various investors. It speaks to the character of both men to want to stay involved and see those projects through. Just on a personal level, I think of all the boards and commissions, there are countless hours that people put in, but Redevelopment Commission, as we all know, the strides that have been made in the last 12 to 15 years in this town are amazing by anyone who's looked at where we were headed to where we've actually turned the corner and started heading again. So I want to thank those guys, and I'm sure that the rest of the council does as well. We'll have an opportunity for further comments, but at the end of the meeting, but just want to make those comments. So the President has 2 appointments to the Redevelopment Commission. The council has 3 appointments. And going forward to 2018, I would like to appoint Tom Popcheff as well as Brody Duncan to the Redevelopment Commission. That leaves 3 other appointments from the council. So do we have any nominations?
Mr. President, I nominate Gordon Rundle.
Mr. President, I nominate Rhonda Schwartz.
Okay, we have one position still available. Is there any comments or any desires of the council regarding that position?
Mr. President, I move that we close nominations at this time.
Okay.
Second.
Okay. So we have a motion to close the nominations at this time with 4 people appointed. That leaves 1 position open, and so we'll look towards the first quarter to appoint someone into that 5th position. Any other comments before I call for a vote? All those in favor of the 4 appointments of the 2 council appointments of Gordon Rundle and Rhonda Schwartz, say aye.
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 Opposed? So that carries 5-0. So, Monty, just for the record again, Tom Popcheff, Brody Duncan, Gordon Rundle, and Rhonda Schwartz.
Okay. Thank you.
Solid Waste, we have 3 members on the commission currently. We have 2 vacancies, and so we need to fill two people or 2 positions on that.
I'd like to nominate Brian Dimwitty.
Any other nominations?
Mr. President, I'd like to nominate Curtis Miller.
Okay. Any other nominations to the Solid Waste Board?
Mr. President, I move that nominations be closed for the Solid Waste Commission.
Second.
Okay. We have a motion to close the nominations for Solid Waste. We have nominations of Brian Dinwiddie and Curtis Miller to the 2 vacant positions. Any other comments or questions? All those in favor of appointing Brian and Curtis as presented, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Congratulations to those.
Mr. President, could you tell me the second on the closing of the nominations on that?
Yes, we got a second.
Who was the second?
I did.
You were. Thank you.
Actually, I heard two. Okay, so we don't have any appointments to Library Board this year. Stormwater Management Board is intact. Jeff, you serve as a council member to that board. The Fire Merit Board, again, no appointments to that commission this year. We have one vacancy and/or reappointment to the Police Commission.
Mr. President, I nominate Jim Oakes.
Mr. President, I move that we close nominations.
Second.
Okay, we have motion to close the Police Commission nominations. We have one nomination of Jim Oakes. It's actually a renomination or a reappointment. Any other questions or comments on it? All those in favor of appointing Jim Oakes to the Police Commission, say aye.
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 Opposed? Carries 5-0. Next board or commission is the Economic Development Commission. And we have one vacancy. We have two positions that could either be reappointed or new nominations, new appointments for this year.
Mr. President, I nominate Mark Chastain.
Mr. President, I nominate Jennifer Miller.
Okay. Any other nominations?
Mr. President, I move that nominations be closed.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion to close the nominations for Economic Development Commission. One comment I will make is that the document I have shows Diane Massariu as on that, but her term was 2016. I wonder if that's a typo. So we need to verify that and come back to that in January if that does in fact need appointment. So the two nominations were for Mark Chastain as a reappointment, and Jennifer Miller was nominated. And any other questions or comments? I'll call for the vote. All those in favor of Mark Chastain and Jennifer Miller being appointed to the Economic Development Commission, say aye.
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 Opposed? That carries. And now on to, that carries 5-0, sorry. And moving on to School Board, we have Dr. Terry Reed, another one similar to the comments I made earlier. Terry Reed served our town for 22 years on the school board. By all accounts, put in more hours than any other school board member. He would never take the credit for that, but has just done a terrific job, attended meetings all over the state, and actually probably outside the state, just to do what he could to learn more about making our schools better. And Terry will continue to serve in the town. The schools have let us know unofficially that it's likely they will continue to appoint Terry to the Redevelopment Commission in a non-voting role. But they still need to formalize that next year. But we thank Terry for his many years of service. So at this point, do we have nominations for the school board?
I'd like to nominate Bill Harding.
Any other nominations?
Mr. President, I move that nominations be closed for the school board.
Second.
Okay, we have motion to close the nominations for school board, and we have one nomination of Bill Harding or William Harding. Any comments or questions? I would say that I would add comments to this, and I'm sure the rest of the council agrees. We had several fantastic people apply for this position, all highly educated, with just terrific resumes, and we're looking to involve all of those people somewhere in the town. Unfortunately, we only have one position on the school board for each of those people, but just impeccable resumes and capabilities of those people that applied. So thank you to them. Without any more questions or comments, I'll call for the vote. All those in favor of appointing William Harding to the school board, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carries 5-0. Okay, so if I keep going, we have a Speedway Redevelopment Authority, and we do not have any appointments this year. The Speedway Building Corporation, which we do not have any appointments this year. The Board of Zoning Appeals, we have 3 appointments. The city has let us know that they're likely to reappoint Janet Follin and Steve Jones are the likely appointments from the city, the Department of Metropolitan Development. But we, the council, have 3 appointments to our Board of Zoning Appeals. We have 3 people that have been serving who have a continued interest. Do we have any, first of all, do we have any nominations?
Mr. President, I nominate Mike Allen.
I nominate Mike Simonson.
I nominate Tyler Carmichael.
Any other nominations?
Mr. President, I move that we close nominations.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion to close the nominations for Board of Zoning Appeals. We have nominations, actually re-nominations of Mike Allen, Mike Simonson, and Tyler Carmichael. Any other comments or questions? Again, I'll speak certainly on behalf of the council. Ernie Williams has served on this board for many years, and terrific man that's lived in this community probably 50, 60 years, but has done a great job of serving. He serves on another board. We're appreciative of that, and just want to thank him and his wife for the work they do in the town. Okay, so without any questions or comments, I'll call for the vote on that. All those in favor of appointing the 3 that were nominated to the Board of Zoning Appeals, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That carries 5-0. Did I catch them all?
I believe you
All
did.
right. Okay. Item 6 on the agenda, approval of claims and utility adjustments and general report from our clerk-treasurer.
Thank you, Mr. President. I've submitted to you and the council the claims for the period of December the 9th through December the 22nd. Typical as usual, as I usually say, and would appreciate your approval.
Mr. President, I make a motion we approve the claims as presented by our clerk treasurer.
Second.
We have a motion to approve the claims presented by the clerk-treasurer. Any comments or questions? Hearing none, we'll call for the vote. All those in favor of approving the claims as presented, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? They carry 5-0. Monty?
Yes, utility adjustments, you have those before you as well for the same period of time from December 9th through December 22nd. This is a little bit larger than what we've had in the past, but we had one apartment complex who had a pretty severe leak in the slab, so they had to repair that, and some of the credit for the sewer came on. So, again, I would appreciate your approval on those.
Mr. President, I move we approve the adjustments presented to us by Clerk Treasurer.
Second.
A motion to approve the adjustments. Comments or questions? All those in favor of approving the adjustments, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? They carry 5-0. Anything else, Monty?
Just quickly, obviously, it's a time for settlement with the county on our property tax collections. I received it yesterday afternoon late, and looks normal, if you will. Our lien process that we say we hate to do, but we have to get it done to collect money that's out there that's not been paid, and we collected $58,000
Great.
in liens this section of the year. So, 2016 audit by the State Board of Accounts is still in process, and they're finalizing it hopefully the first of next week. So, it's a normal audit, if you will.
Monty, thanks for that. You had shared with me, and probably the others as well, why the State Board of Accounts is auditing 16. You might want to just tell the public why that is, why they need to audit this year, or why they need to audit in 2016.
Well, we're unique. Some jurisdictions don't get audited for 3 or 4 years, but they're here every year, since I've been here at least. And this is fairly typical. It looks at our 2016 transactions, et cetera. We were going to be looked at in an examination, which is much less than a typical full audit. We received some federal money from NDOT in early 16 that we had to scramble to get that money back to reimburse to us, that you're aware of, reference to the roundabout and 10th Street, et cetera. So they had to do a full audit. So it's taken longer than we anticipated.
Yeah. So the point I was trying to make, and thanks for that, is that whenever we receive NDOT reimbursements that are connected to the Fed, there's a requirement state law for the audit to take place whenever we receive monies through.
Anything you receive over
Bless you.
$500,000.
Great, great. Okay. Well, thanks for your report, and thanks for the work you do.
Thank you. Happy New Year.
Yeah. You can pass that to Monty. It's just something I got in the mail. Okay. We can move on to, actually, what I think I might do is move item number 9, nominations for officers for 2018 up, and then we can make our comments after that, if that makes sense.
Okay.
So,
Mr. President, I'd like to nominate Jeff Matthews as President of Council for 2018.
I'll second.
can't second a nomination, but you're welcome to close the nominations if
I
you'd like.
third, I fourth. Mr. President, I move that we close the nominations.
I'll second that.
There you go. And I'll third that.
All right.
All right.
Can I get
So-
a fourth?
Sure.
All those in favor of appointing Jeff Matthews as president in 2018, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried 401. Is that what that
I
was?
think that's what that was.
Okay, I thought so. And how about for vice president? Do we have a nomination for vice president?
Mr. President, I move that we nominate David Lindsay.
Okay. Do we have any other nominations, or do we have a motion to close the nominations?
I move that we close nominations.
Okay.
Second.
Okay, we have motion to close nominations with a nomination of David Lindsay for vice president for 2018. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Okay,
Yes.
so it's 401.
Got it.
And with that, we'll go to reports. Eileen, you have any comments?
Just want to thank everyone that have been involved in our boards and commissions. I know those are volunteer, and we, as counselors here, cannot do what we do up here without your help and assistance, and it is greatly appreciated. And welcome all the new ones for this next year. So